up, guys? Devil Dog Gamer here, and I know we haven't done a vlog in a while. Mrs. Devil Dog has been deathly ill. Like, seriously thought she was gonna fucking die and stuff. So she's feeling better now, so we decided, let's do some vlogs. And we're kind of running through ideas like what we could really do. And you know what? I miss talking about like topics, like political topics, world topics. But the gaming channel brings in such a large diversity of people that it usually kind of like this, you kind of want to keep that kind of stuff away. So, every once in a while we'll talk about stuff on the vlog channel. And there's been two things recently on the news that I kind of want to be talking about. People probably want to know my opinion on. Hello. Always. Get out of here. And then, so what we're going to talk on about today is gun control. If you didn't see the Oregon shooting, basically dude came in, started killing people in a community college, and people are going to be like, that's an American problem. Well, we're going to get to that. But of course, for once, there was an actual hero in it, an Army veteran who charged at him and got shot a bunch of times. Guy's a fucking hero. We need more people like that. That's what stops shootings like that, is people getting off their ass instead of refusing to be a victim. Will say, you know what, if I'm gonna fucking die, I'm taking this fucking dude with me. What about gun control? What has changed as a society that we literally need to outright ban guns? Back in the 50s and 60s, my parents used to tell me that there used to be like rifle ranges at schools. My mom, the school she went to, kids would bring their shotguns and they would walk around school with their shotguns and then go hunting after school. What changed? What changes society? Like, seriously, ask yourself a question. What as a society have we changed from the 40s, 50s, 60s and onward to where this open culture of guns has just translated into violence? Now, I personally think it might be an economic problem with low income or medium income, who knows, maybe, but I'm pretty much positive that this is a mental health issue. Every time somebody does it, there's some fucking nut job. And people are gonna be like, well, that's because it's easy to get guns. Well, you're right, there's ways to get around, you can get around getting guns, but at the same time there are barriers in there, but there's no mental health barrier. There is a question on there that says when you go buy a gun, you fill out your background check, there's a question on there. Have you been mentally agitated by a judge or something like that saying that you're incapable? That's a disqualifier for buying a gun. Fucking cats. Well, let's look at it this way. In America, we have something called the Baker Act. Say Mrs. Devil Dog was going all fucking crazy. I could call the cops. I had to use
Really? Thanks. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry. I could call the cops and be like, listen, she's a danger to herself. Can you please come to Baker Act? The police will come and take her, hold her for 72 hours, and give her a mental health evaluation by doctors. Now, everybody I know who's been Baker Acted has literally not spent more than that 72 hours in a hospital or talking to a doctor. And some of these people really needed some fucking help, really out there. Back in the 30s and 40s and earlier on, the mental health issue was such a lockdown thing that there was no Baker Act. The state would take over your care. They'd be like, you're fucking crazy. We're taking over your care. And you'd be locked in an institution for the rest of your life because you were that crazy. They would lobotomize people. What changed since then? Why is mental health not such an issue? As someone who struggled with PTSD here and there's not help anyway. You can't just I went to a doctor one time as a private doctor and talked to him about my problems. This guy literally did nothing for me. Did nothing. The guy was a fucking complete waste of my time. There's nothing around that helps people anymore. You can't just walk to a police station and be like, I'm going to hurt people. And they're not gonna help you. They're gonna let you talk to a doctor, hold you for 72 hours, and release you back to the general public. But this solely isn't a problem just because there's no mental health, facilities or ways to take care of this. It comes down to parents also, family, identifying that somebody's not right, talking to them, getting help for them, doing what you gotta do. I mean, I watched the interview with this guy's dad who just did the Oregon shooting. And the dad spent more time talking about gun control than he did about he didn't know his son was sick or there was something wrong with him. If the dude would have spent more fucking time than he spent talking about gun control on TV than talking to his son, maybe he would have figured out something was wrong with him and gotten him help. But you know, God forbid that we're so fucking detached from people nowadays because of fucking social media and the internet. You can't even sit down and have a conversation with your own damn child. And it comes down to parenting too. When I was raised, whenever I did something wrong, my parents beat me ruthlessly. I love them to death for it because it makes you realize right from wrong better. And if you guys don't know, I have a daughter. Me and Mrs. Devil Dog, I have a daughter. I spank her. When she's fucking bad, we spank her. We'll put her in timeout, spank her. But it's so bad that society's changed so much that literally I can't spank her in public without fear of somebody being like, you can't do that, or getting the cops involved. And this is also another issue. You get people that grow up without consequences from their parents because of society as it is, with you can't punish your child or discipline them. So they go on just getting away with the same old shit as usual, and you mix that with mental health, and then all of a sudden walking into a school and shooting a bunch of people doesn't seem like such a bad idea. It just seems like a combination effect. Now, for outright banning guns, it'll never happen in this country. I will never give up my guns. If police come here and ask me to give up my guns, I will fucking die at my doorstep. I will never, ever get rid of my guns. Because it's how our nation was made, that's how we've kept our strong nation, that's how we've kept troops off of our soil, and we always will be, and the government from walking in and doing whatever the fuck they want. So I'm not one of those right-wingers that'll just go out there and be like, oh, the cops are down there and blocking off my street, I'm gonna go down with a gun. No, this is my sanctuary. I will protect it with my life, and that's what I have guns for. It literally takes 5 to 10 minutes for the cops to get here. You call them. So what's that gonna do for me? I have to be able to protect myself. My life is more important than some assholes who comes in here and tries to fuck me up. But outright banning guns, it'll never happen. What I do need things to happen is a little stricter. There definitely needs to be more of a mental health requirement for it. I really think the biggest issue is required firearms training. Not 40 hours, not 80 hours, 200 plus hours. I'm talking weapon safety, right and wrong, how to operate each firearm, how to operate it correctly, a lot of stance on the laws and stuff like that. I never took the concealed weapons course here in Florida. For concealed weapons course, you have to, let me say this. Florida has one of the highest concealed weapons numbers anywhere in the U.S. I think Texas has it beat. Out of the millions of people who have been given concealed weapons, only one person's ever had their permit revoked. That's a pretty fucking high number right there, or low number, I should say. I'm fucking retarded, but it just goes to show you that the guys who actually go and get concealed weapons permits are usually more sound in mind. You can bring up that one thing with Trayvon Martin, but whatever, that was a fucking fluke. The guy was an asshole. But sound in mind. And I think overall, when you purchase a firearm, that stance needs to get put on that your choice you make with this firearm will determine the outcome at that point. There's a lot of things, I see a lot of people from different states, there's stories that pop up, this cat's like chewing on my finger, where people will pull their gun in certain situations they didn't need to pull their gun, and that's lack of training. And it also comes down to, with that required training, you could open the door to more people carrying guns. I don't think, every person, I personally think everybody should be able to carry a gun on them at all times. If you mix that training with that amount of people carrying, you're not going to have incidents like Oregon. Imagine if that vet who charged him had his gun. Imagine how the outcome of that would have been. The dude would have been fucking dead on the floor, and that guy would have been even more of a hero. They've been having ticker tape parades for him. We need that kind of stuff. We need responsible, smart, trained people who go out, who take the time out of their day to learn what they need to learn to protect everybody else. You can't have cops around here every 10 seconds. There's not enough cops. We don't pay enough taxes to have that many cops. And frankly, all the cops I know are fucking shitty shots. They're fat, they're shitty, they suck. You really want a guy coming to protect you who's like that? No. We've kind of grown up with this firearms culture, and we put these locks on it to prevent things. But the only people who follow these locks and these checks and balances are the people who are actually going to law-abiding citizens, who aren't going to do anything but literally want to help protect them or hunt or stuff like that. And the guys that are going around these locks are the crazy assholes that are fucking shooting all of us. So we have to pay the price for what these assholes do, and it only just kind of dumbs down the amount of protection that we have in these situations, like not being able to, I know Florida not too long ago was getting ready to pass a bill to where you could carry your gun if you had a concealed weapons permit at colleges. And this was the time I was actually taking college courses. I was super excited about this. So there's nothing like getting trapped in a room with only one exit and not having anything there to protect you when, you know, a dude could come through that door and literally you just sit there and be like, well, that sucks, you know. I was excited about it, and I got banned, and I didn't understand why. I could literally carry my gun in my car, pull into the parking lot of the school, put it in my glove box, and walk in. So what's the difference? What's the difference? It does, you know, it's dumb, and it just blows my mind. It just seems like reasonable thinking. Let's kind of do more to, you know, how you get guns, put more blocks in there. Less restrictions, let people kind of carry their guns, protect themselves. It'll deter people from walking into kindergarten classes and shooting people, especially if the teachers have guns, which they should have every right to carry one. I mean, it's just stupid. It's too much. It's all in the wrong places, it seems like. Just required training, more people carrying. It just makes sense to me. I don't understand why it doesn't make sense to other people, but this is how this country is. You get a lot of people who are just really fucking hardened on an issue and won't actually think about it and sit around. But honestly, I think the first thing we could do is just make it a little harder to get guns, more checks and balances, and revisit the mental health issue. Get, you know, facilities in place, you know, protocols in place to check people, and then it comes down to people actually checking on their friends. Talk to your friends face to face. Make sure they're fucking okay. You know, they don't shoot people, but who knows? You know, I'm a rational thinker, but not everybody else. That's why you should vote for Devil Dog 2016. Write me in on the ballot, I'm telling you. But anyways, you like this, you want to add to it, or tell me I'm fucking retarded and wrong, sure, whatever, go ahead. I don't give a fuck. But, you know, you want me to talk about some more issues, we could do another one sometime soon. But I love you guys. Talk to you later. Peace.